Welcome, everyone. My name's Christopher Catta, and I'm going to be your host for this webinar with Ann Klausner. This is the fourth webinar in our series on senior safety during the pandemic, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to Ann. She's going to take us through a presentation on exercising with care. And in Zoom, if you do have questions, there is a Q&A section. So at any time you can type in your question there, and then at the end of Ann's presentation, we'll go through and answer all of those questions for you. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Ann.
Good evening. I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping first and start with a personal disclaimer. My name is Ann Klausner from Exercise with Care. The information contained in this webinar is for educational and informational purposes only. The exercises are based on my professional expertise and background. The information provided is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. You acknowledge that you take full responsibility for your health, life, and well-being. In the event that you use the information provided in this webinar, I assume no responsibility. And with that, we can start. So I'm just going to get ready first. Okay, I'm just ready to cut this apple. Maybe not the best idea. It's kind of hard to feel the knife and the apple in order to do this. Yet, we exercise and move through our life every day without a clear field of vision, without a good sense of what we hear, and without the ability to feel the ground we're walking on in many parts of our body. Good evening. My name is Ann Klausner, founder of Exercise with Care. I've been working in the health and wellness industry since the year 2001, first as an aquatic therapist and now as a personal trainer specializing in people who suffer from chronic pain. I would like to start by thanking Caregiving Matters and Hydro One for inviting me to speak with you this evening on this very important topic of exercising safely. This evening, we're going to discuss what it really means to feel safe as you move your body. And we're going to have some fun, do a few exercises, so don't get too comfortable. Being safe, whether exercising or moving through your daily activities of life, depends on your brain receiving good, accurate information from your body about your body and your environment, understanding that information, and sending appropriate commands back to your body. Everything you do, feel, see, and hear affects your brain's ability to react appropriately. So what does that mean? I invite you all to take a moment and just think about, what do you see right now? Hopefully you see me on your screen. What else do you see? Perhaps there are pictures on the wall behind your computer, a window, maybe other people in the room. What do you hear? Other than my voice, perhaps there's music playing somewhere in the house, a car on the street, a dog barking. What do you feel? Do you feel the floor under your feet? Do you feel your legs on the chair? Where are your hands? Are they on your lap, on the table, possibly crossed? Do you feel the temperature of the air on your skin? All of this information is going to your brain 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your brain has to decide what is important and requires action and what to ignore. And why does this matter with regard to exercising safely? Let's take a look at your brain. I'm going to show you a little picture here. This is your brain. Now, we all think of our brain as this thinking machine that flies us to the moon and composes symphonies and thinks of beautiful philosophy and artwork. But actually, the thinking part of our brain is just this little area right here. I heard before that there was a little problem with my slide, so I hope that you're able to see my cursor. This little front area of your brain is the thinking part of your brain. The whole rest of this big area here is dedicated to movement and sensory information. This whole area here is for movement. All of this is for what do you feel, both inside and outside of your body. Our visual center. All of this, what do you see and what does it mean, what you see, to interpret what you see. Our audio, what do you hear, to interpret what you hear. By the way, this little tiny green area right here, that's the speech center. Just look how small it is in relation to our audio, our listening area. So just a little food for thought on that. And we have our area for smell. And just back here is our brain stem, which is for survival, heart rate, blood pressure, etc. But when somebody tells you to exercise your brain, what do you think about? Sudoku, crossword puzzles. In order for your brain to function optimally, we have to exercise also the sensory area of our brain and to keep it strong because this is an integrated unit. Do you hear the birds? Do you see the trees? It's beautiful out here. Hi, I'm from Exercise with Care. In my past couple of blogs, I've spoken about smiling and eye exercises, and I'm going to elaborate on that. When we face danger, we tend to become hyper-focused on that danger as part of the fight or flight survival mechanism. However, this is a good way to survive. It's not a good way to live our life. In today's world, we're surrounded by news reports telling us how dangerous everything is. We might be forgetting how beautiful the world actually is around us as well, and how safe it is for the most part. When we have pain in our body, we tend to become hyper-focused on that area of pain and forget about all the parts of our body that feel good and we can move with ease. By smiling and doing visual exercises, moving our eyes around, we are reinforcing our brain's awareness, not only of our own body, but of our entire environment, and increase our feeling of safety and well-being. For more tips, follow me here on Facebook or YouTube, and don't Yeah, it's a beautiful world out there. By exercising your senses, you will not only strengthen your brain as an entire unit, but you will also feel safer. But what do I mean by exercise your senses? Let me give walking as an example. You may choose to walk on a treadmill indoors. That's great. You get cardio activation, your blood gets pumping. That's great. But you don't get any sensory stimulation. As you walk, each step will be like the previous step. Even if you adjust the angle of the treadmill to make it seem like you're going uphill, there's no difference in the terrain. It's just nice, smooth, step, step, step. You may watch a movie as you walk, but that isn't really visual stimulation because you're looking straight ahead the whole time. There's no incentive to move your eyes or move your head. There's no real visual stimulation. And even the audio, maybe you hear music or you hear people around you, but it's usually from the same direction, and it's indoor sounds, which are very muted and not differentiations of volume. So you're not getting a lot of stimulation there, aside from the fact that I don't really know anybody who feels happy after walking on a treadmill. Compare that to walking out of doors. As you walk outside, as we saw in the video, I could hear birds, an airplane. I could hear kids in the distance playing, each sound coming from a different direction at a different volume with variations in the tone. My field of vision took in all the beauty around me, all the colors, the different shades of green or whatever colors there may be, the differentiations, even differences in light. As I may walk under a tree, it's shadier. A cloud may go overhead, or I may be out in the bright sunlight. Each step will be a little bit different. As I walk on the sidewalk, I arrive at a curb, I step down, I cross the street, I step up, maybe I'll walk on the grass where there's always a little bit of difference because of the levels of grass, little bumps maybe. Maybe I'm going to step a little bit sideways to avoid something in my way or turn to say hi to somebody who I know. So there's a lot of stimulation going on as you walk outside. It does feel better. You'll feel happier. Even mall walking will give you more stimulation than walking on a treadmill. And you'll find out in a little while why that stimulation will keep you safe. Now, as we go through our session today, we're going to talk about two main senses that will help you to feel safer as you exercise: your vision and touch. Vision. Now, I know that all of you are looking at your screens right now, and you're probably spending a lot of time on screens and with all kinds of devices and like this. Do a lot of you have a little bit of achiness in your neck, back, forehead? Probably, because we have what's called computer neck, right? So computer neck often leads to this type of posture: head forward, shoulders rounded forward, standing like this. I'm sure a lot of you are seeing people standing like this lately. John was my client for many years. He was a senior. He had a little bit of Parkinson's, a little bit of back pain, and he stood like this. John, stand up straight. He'd stand up straight for about 3 or 4 minutes, and then, John, stand up straight. And he'd stand up straight again. It was a vicious circle, with each session ending with John feeling frustrated and me feeling like a really bad trainer. Then I started to study the neurology of movement and pain, and I received the golden key to good posture: our eyes. You see, your eyes are your steering wheel. It's really hard to walk in a straight line if you're looking off to the side. It's really hard to bend down if you're looking up. And it's very hard to stand up tall if you're looking down. In fact, it's almost impossible to do this over an extended period of time. So we integrated eye exercises into John's sessions, and he became a new man. He was standing up straighter for much longer periods of time, and throughout the day, his back pain subsided. He felt taller, stronger, and safer. Why safer? Because good posture equals better balance, period, 100%. Secondly, when both eyes are working well, you have a wider field of vision to see that you're safe, to be able to avoid obstacles before you trip over them. And thirdly, because this computer neck, this looking at our devices, brings our eyes into a downwards and together what's called convergence, which is tunnel vision. Now, tunnel vision is great if you have to really focus on a problem to be solved. Not so great if you want to feel safe. Excuse me while I take a sip of water. It's not so great when you want to feel safe. Why? Let's think about it. Who's what? My cat's putting in her 2 cents. Remember, think about Hitchcock movies. Psycho. The scariest scene in Psycho. All you see is a shower head, then Janet Leigh's face, and then the knife. That's all you see. Television. Or the movie that to me is the scariest of all time, that to this day I'm terrified of birds. Birds. The scariest scenes in that movie are filmed through windows and door frames. Television. I want you to feel this. So make little circles with your hands and put them over your eyes. So we're putting ourselves into television. Would you feel safe to walk around this way? Go for a walk, go to the supermarket? Probably not. You probably feel a lot safer when you have a nice big field of vision. The good news is that our eyes are controlled by muscles, 6 muscles, and we can strengthen them and we can get them to move the way they should, to be looking up and raising up our posture. So let's do a little exercise. I invite you all to sit up really straight and tall in your chairs. Before we do the exercise, put your finger right here on your chin so that you don't move your head. Don't let your head move. Just moving your eyes, look around and notice how much of the room around you you're able to see. Now I'm going to use a pen. If you have a pen, it's a good thing to use. Otherwise, you can use your thumbnail, okay? So that's going to be your target. I'm going to use my pen that has my little logo on it right there, that little circle. And I'm going to focus on it. We're still sitting nice and tall. I'd like you to hold either your thumb or a pen straight in front of your eyes. Step back so you can see me better. So it's at eye level. I'm not going to move my head. I'm holding it in my left hand. I'm going to move my left hand out to the side about 45 degrees, only so far that I can still see it with both of my eyes. And I'm going to hold it here for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly come back to center. Now, if this exercise makes you feel at all dizzy or uncomfortable, please do not continue. Continue to watch, but don't continue to do the exercise. Talk to me, contact me. You can find my information on the website of Caregiving Matters or talk to a vision therapist. It's probably causing you other discomforts as you move through your life, and it's very, very curable, okay? So we're going to do that again. I'm not going to move my head. Eyes to the side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly back to center. Switch hands. Moving my arm to the right. Only so far as I can see it with both eyes, keeping a good focus. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's possible that one side feels more comfortable than the other side. That's normal. That's okay. If it's uncomfortable, take a break. Again to the right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly back to center. Now I'm not going to move my hand. I'm going to raise my arm up as high as I can still see without moving my head. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly come back down. Switch hands. Same thing. Raise your hand up as high as your eyes can go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly come back down. How did that feel? You can put in the chat if that was uncomfortable for you. If it caused you a little bit of burning or pain up here in your forehead, that's muscular, nothing to worry about. It's like doing 100 bicep curls, right? We activated the muscles that control your eyes. It does mean that you need these exercises. Now, go like this, don't move your head. Just again, look around the room and notice if you don't have a wider field of vision. Okay. Now, even though we just did a visual exercise, I cannot see any of you. So I'm asking you all to be really honest here. Who's ever been pulled over to do a sobriety test? You know, this one. Close your eyes, touch your finger to your nose. Shout out to Sergeant Kerry Schmidt. I'm sure he's had people do a lot of these tests over the course of his career. A sobriety test has to do with touch. What is touch? We always think of touch as how does a texture feel? How does something actually feel when we touch it? But there's another very important component to touch. Does your brain know where the part of each part of your body is located? Is your brain able to bring your hand to your coffee or teacup, pick it up, bring it to your mouth without you spilling it down the front of your shirt or throwing it over your shoulder? Are you able to close your eyes and find your nose with your finger? Now, luckily, there are more sophisticated ways of doing a sobriety test these days, because for lots of people, even stone cold sober, they are not able to do this. Why? Because due to many reasons, often inactivity, or even as we age, the map that our brain has of our body starts to become blurred and dulled. Your brain is no longer quite sure of where each part of your body is located. And that is a big problem when it comes to moving safely, because if your brain isn't sure where it is, it's difficult to move it in the necessary direction and at the necessary speed. Tina came to me for sessions because she had a lot of pain in her neck, shoulders, and back. And we started to work together. And after several sessions, Tina said to me, she was a middle-aged woman, she said, I want to be able to squat. Squat? She said, yeah. She said, I've always felt really uncoordinated and I've never been able to squat. I want to be able to squat. Now, like me, you may be thinking, what's the big deal with a squat, right? Well, when Tina was a little girl, her mother brought her to India to visit. And Tina was really excited to go to India until she saw the washrooms, because at that time in India, there were only squat toilets. And Tina couldn't squat. Tina was really embarrassed. Tina's mother was angry and had to buy her rubber boots. So as we continued to work together, we did a lot of exercises of Tina having to, with eyes closed and eyes open, locate the different parts of her body and move them in ways that were necessary for that particular drill. We'd give instructions, say, pick up your knee and move it to the left, to the right, straight, bend, all sorts of drills to sharpen her brain's knowledge of where each part of her body is. So I invite you to join me in some exercises and let's see how it feels, okay? So we're going to start off, just have your hands like this, just in front of you at a comfortable level. You don't have to hold your arms up high. Your hands close together at a comfortable level. Looking at your screen or with your eyes closed, are you able to touch your right index finger to your left index finger? Relax. Touch your right index finger to your left pinky. Try to do it without looking. Try to do it without moving all the rest of your fingers. Can you move your left middle finger to your right thumb? Can you move your right pinky to your left thumb? Try touching your different fingers together without looking and without missing. Can you take your right hand and put it on top of your left shoulder? Now, often when I do this with people, I'll say right hand on top of your left shoulder, they'll come to here, which is a miss, because this is the top. And that tells me that they have a little bit of blurring of that map of their body. Can you take, I'm going to adjust my camera here so you can see me a little bit. Can you take your left hand and grab your right earlobe? Take your right hand, put it on top of your left shoulder. Take your left hand out of where it is, put it on top of your head. Take your right hand and put it on your right hip. Now, if this was easy for you, amazing, that's great. If this was a little bit challenging, if you had to actually think, what am I telling you to do? It's something that should be worked on. And it will improve your coordination, which will improve how safely you're able to move through your life. And even people who, I'll just tell you something that happened to me. I was in a workshop where we were practicing this and they put us into some really weird position. And they said, now move your left leg. I couldn't figure out where my left leg was. After about a minute, I actually had to ask another participant in the class to touch my left leg because I couldn't figure out where it was. So it happens even, in the best of circumstances, our brain can sometimes draw a blank. But if this happens a little bit more frequently, it's really something that should be addressed in order to ensure your safety. And by the way, Tina has an amazing squat today. Let's talk about, continuing on the topic of touch, let's talk about your feet. Our feet. Remember when you were a kid? Walking barefoot, wasn't it the best? Or how about when you go on vacation? Who doesn't love to walk on a warm, sandy beach? Or a foot massage? Feels great, doesn't it? And it feels great and it's good for you. And some people will say it has a spiritual meaning to it. Others will say there's a neurological reason for it. It doesn't matter. It feels great and it's good for you to walk barefoot. Now, the trouble is that most of us are walking around wearing these heavy, thick-soled shoes, right? And that's sort of like trying to cut a salad or prepare your food wearing big, thick gloves like this. Your brain isn't getting adequate messaging from your feet. Now, we're being told constantly by advertisements, that heavy, thick-soled shoes will make your feet stronger and give you better balance. So if you're wearing a thick-soled shoe and your foot can't move at all, how is it getting stronger? As far as I know, the only way to make something stronger is to move it. That means to walk barefoot. Now, here's another reason to walk barefoot and improve the sensory information from your feet to your brain. In May 2017, NASA released a report where they spoke about a long-kept secret. Astronauts on the International Space Station lose cognitive abilities. They lose abilities to multitask. Complex calculations become difficult for them. So they were studying this, trying to figure out what's going on. The conclusion they reached was because there's no gravity, they're not getting any sensation on the soles of their feet. Their brain is searching for this input because our brain knows that the ground is a constant. Our brain knows that the ground will always be there. And how when you go downstairs and you miss a step, you go, oh, right? There's a feeling of panic if you miss a step because our brain knows that the floor is a constant. So for the astronauts who are in zero gravity for extended periods of time, their brain is searching for that input, diverting blood and energy resources from the other parts of the brain in search of the input from their feet. Now, here's just another little story to emphasize how important it is to actually have strong feet. About, I guess, 2 years ago already, I was driving, you know, here in Toronto, we have these big ravines, beautiful ravines. And there was road construction. So there was just one lane of traffic in each direction. Traffic was moving quite slowly. And I saw to the side, 2 ladies walking on the sidewalk. It was winter, they were wearing their big coats. And I saw as they were at the top of the hill and they started to walk downwards. And to my horror, one of the ladies, as she started to walk on that downward part of the hill, she simply fell forward onto her face. And because of the construction, I couldn't stop to help her. But the scenario was clear to me. Her feet were not strong enough to push back against the sidewalk to hold her upright. Her eyes were too weak to lift up and to pull her head up, a reflexive movement that we should be able to do. And she simply fell forwards. I hope never to see that again. We all have to have strong eyes, strong feet. So let's do a little exercise for our feet. I invite you to take off your shoes. If you're comfortable, take off also your socks. I'll give you a moment to do that. And when you're ready, just put your feet on the floor. And if you're comfortable to do so and feel safe, stand up. Even holding onto the table or a sturdy chair, stand up and just notice how balanced you feel. Are you swaying a little bit? Is your weight more on one foot than the other? How safe do you feel? Just make a little mental note. And now we're going to sit down again and we're going to do a foot exercise. So I'm going to put up a video here. One, here we go. Hopefully. Nope. Okay. I don't know why we're not coming up here. to stop the share. We're going to try to go back into that because I'd really like you to have this with me. Say, wait, the video. This is. See, this is why I like live presentations, because we can just do it all together. We are not getting this video to come up. Okay. See, it's here. Okay. Something has disconnected. I hope I haven't disconnected. I hope that you guys are, that I'm still with you guys. Oh, okay, because I don't see anything happening, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
I'll give it one more try. If it doesn't come up, then it doesn't come up. Okay. I really didn't want to have to put the computer on the floor, but I guess I don't have a choice here. So it's the little glitches of Zoom. I'm going to take this down, stop the share, and we're going to just elevate. So here we go, folks. You're coming for a ride. And we are here on the floor. Are you able to see my feet? Chris, if you could just give me a little.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, great. So here we are. You can see my feet. I hope you are all doing this sitting in your chairs, please. Do not do it standing up as I am. And I'd like you to just move your feet from the outer edge to the inner edge. Outer edge, inner edge. Just feel that you're able to move your ankles, move your feet. You could do one foot at a time if you're more comfortable. You could do both feet. See what feels good for you. Now you're going to take one foot at a time, just push your toes into the floor and move a little bit from big toe, little toe. Feel the weight shift as you do this. And go to the other foot. Just move your feet, big toe, little toe, back and forth a little bit. You feel your toes crunch a little bit as you do it. You're going to just pull your toes up, squeeze and stretch your toes as best you can. If you can move them, that's great. If you can't, it's a work in progress. Your other foot as well. Squeeze and stretch your toes. And then you're going to put your foot to the side of your chair, toes down on the floor, and feel a stretch in your ankle. And again, just wiggle your foot around a little bit as you do this. And you're going to do the other foot. Just wiggle it. See, my cat loves to participate. And just feel the floor again. Okay, I invite you to again stand up and just see if there's any difference in what you feel and how the floor feels to you. If your balance feels different, if you feel more aware of the floor, possibly, just you can, with your eyes open or closed, however you prefer. How do you feel? Hopefully, you feel a little bit more aware of the floor. We have 200,000 sensors in our feet and ankles. Our brain wants that information, it wants to know what's going on with the floor. Take some time each day. Sorry. Take some time each day to engage your senses. Sorry, I forgot to say have a seat again. My cat distracted me. Take some time each day to engage your senses. Look around. Don't walk looking at the ground. I promise you, it's boring. There's no money on the ground. There used to be back in the days when people used coins. Today, there's not even any money on the ground. Lift your eyes up, look around, see the beauty of the world, see a big range of field of vision, and you're able to even see obstacles to avoid them. Listen to the sounds that you hear. Feel, touch things as you move through your world. I'm going to share with you one more video. Hopefully this one works, it should. It's a little warm up you can do every day before you go out for a walk, because hopefully you'll be motivated after this to take a walk every day. I'd like you to start, when you first start doing the video, it will be up on the Caregiving Matters website. Do it sitting down to begin with, till you get used to it. Then stand up, make sure there's something to hold on to so that you feel safe until it becomes easy for you and you're able to do it comfortably. Okay, so here we go. Join me for a quick warm up before going out for our daily walk. I'm going to stand with a nice tall posture. Barefoot is preferable, but it's okay if you prefer to wear shoes. And this can be done either in the house before you leave or when you're already outside. So I'm going to stand with in my case, my left foot, but with one foot forward. So I'm in a triangular stand, and I'm just going to start to roll my ankle side to side. My toes and heel remain firmly on the floor, and it's my ankle that's getting a bit of a stretch here. So I'm doing this 4 or 5 times. Now I'm going to push into my toes with my knee bent and straighten my leg, come back, lifting my toes off the floor, pushing into my heel. Roll forward, push into my toes, roll back, push into my heel. And this I'm also going to do 4 or 5 times, and I want to keep my leg, the rest of my leg, nice and stable as I do this. I'm going to place my foot again firmly onto the floor, slightly bend my knee, and now I'm going to move my knee right to left. So this is where I actually get the hip to warm up and my knee to get a little bit of different type of movement, so it'll be ready for the terrain outside. And now, as I do this, I'm going to actually look up with my eyes. I'm moving my knee back to side, but my eyes are looking up. My head is going up a little bit, but my eyes are the steering wheel guiding the posture of my head. Forward, eyes up, back, eyes down. And now for the last thing we're going to do on this side, I'm going to use my eyes again to guide my head. I'm going to look to the left because my left leg is forward. Look to the left as far as possible. My head is rotating as well, and my shoulders are also rotating. Hold it, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm coming back. In this triangular pose, stand, you should be pushing your legs hard into the floor to keep your balance. I'm going to do this one time with my knee bent. So I'm looking to the left as far as possible, shoulders rotate, and back to center. Because when we walk, we do have a shoulder rotation. We're going to switch legs so you can see this from both sides. We're going to do our right leg now. Okay, screen sharing has stopped. I'm going to stop it there. You can watch the full video on the Caregiving Matters website, and hopefully you will do this warm up on both sides of your body before you go out for a walk. Being safe means being able to react appropriately to your environment. When you can see an obstacle ahead of you in time to detour and avoid it, when your muscles are strong, your eye muscles are strong, and they lift your head into a good straight posture so you have great balance. You can scan your surroundings. You can know where each part of your body is so that you can move it in the way that is necessary to keep yourself safe and move. Maybe you have to move in ways you're not used to. That's okay. The more you move your body in ways you're not used to, the more your brain gets used to doing it. That is how we stay safe as we exercise. That is how we stay safe as we move through life. I would once again like to thank Caregiving Matters and Hydro One for inviting me to participate in this amazing event for seniors. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them now.
And that was absolutely fantastic. At this time, I will ask everyone if they do have any questions. You can write them in the Q&A section in Zoom. There aren't any there now, so we'll just wait a few minutes and see if we get any questions in there. Afterwards as well, we'll be making the recording of this webinar available on the Caregiving Matters website as well. So it'll be there. It usually takes us 2 or 3 days to get it processed and put up. And so I don't see any questions yet. So I guess we can close it out. I do want to thank everyone for participating today. And thank you so much, Anne, for presenting. That was fantastic. This is the 4th session in this series hosted or promoted by Hydro One and Caregiving Matters. I do encourage everyone to go to the Caregiving Matters website and register for the next one on October 18th with Tom Cheel. It's on the topic of cyber safety and security and identity theft. So that'll be a good session. So once again, thank you very much, Anne, for presenting today.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. Good night, everyone.
Off to watch the results.
Exactly. Bye for now, everyone.